to see you all here. In a few moments' time, you're going to see a reenactment of how we think the Viking warrior met his fate and whose remains were found at the Woodstown site in the next field. We don't know exactly how he died, but this is how we imagine he may have done. May have met his fate. So, in about 2-3 minutes, we'll be starting that whole reenactment.
Pulling you out! Get you! This is your land. Yeah. Yours, wife.
I won it.
Won it?
Won it. If I'm not mistaken, from your dear departed father.
You won it.
I
You
won
killed
it.
him in cold blood.
He cheated. He forfeited every right he had to this land, but he cheated me. Want it?
Get him! Go on! Get him! Soak the field with blood!
Come on, boy.
Get him! Get him! Get him to Valhalla! Valhalla's not good enough for him! Get him to hell!
Not bad, boy. Not bad. You're a better fighter than your father was.
Face me!
Let's see him.
No! Leave him!
Get up, die with honor.
Come on, get up, get up! Oh!
What do you think? Mercy?
Yes! Let's go!
Our land! Ours!
I didn't hear no mercy. I didn't hear. You're going to be louder next time.
finn ég hið ellefta. Ég skal til orustu, leiða langvinni, randir ég gel, en þeir með ríki fara. Heilir hildar til, heilir hildi frá, for þeir heilir fara. Þar tangli við 13, ég fekk undan, hvergi vatni á. Munan hann falla, þótt hann í fólk komi, rétt sem hann fyrir. Ég græst, hann krossa, ykkur niður, særa hjartu fiska við. Það snæsir á yfirvelli, mólþinur máttan dæma og minna staðar á megin dóma og fimmultís fórna húni. Farum eftir. Samlegar gulltartöflur í grasi finnast, þær í árdaga áttar höfðu.
The dead do not bury their dead. So the family and friends must prepare a resting place and a ceremony. In Viking times, a man might take all the goods and symbols of his rank from his grave pit with him into the next world. Here are a few things his family think he may need. The shield, to defend his brothers in arms. The sword, to attack. And the spear, death from afar. And the blessing of Odin, the All-Father of the gods. A leader must feed his people and provide feasts and payments for their valor. His wealth and generosity must be legendary. Hospitality is a sacred duty. When a hero dies, the Valkyries carry him to Valhalla, where he is greeted with a horn of mead. A third of his wealth is pledged for the funeral drinks, for the funeral guests to drink. The wealth of the household, farming tools, blacksmith's tools, jewellery and silver coin. These valuable items are kept in the sea chest.
I hope he doesn't start. No. I hope he doesn't start radio.
And you've just witnessed the death of the brave young Viking warrior who was carried from the field of battle by his companions, and he was buried here at Woodstown 1200 years ago. And about 20 years ago, when archaeologists were investigating this area in advance of the plans for the construction of the bypass of Waterford City, we rediscovered the Viking warrior's grave. It had been lost to memory over the intervening 1200 years, and there was no knowledge that Vikings had been settled on this land and that they buried their dead here. So the person that was buried here at Woodstown, a couple of things of note about Woodstown, the site, and the man. First thing is, what we've laid out here is a replica skeleton to show you the remains of to show you the remains of the grave. Unfortunately, in this part of Waterford, the soils are actually very acidic. So, over the course of 1200 years, the bones had totally rotted away, or decayed. All we found were a few small fragments of bone, not enough, unfortunately, to be able to do analysis to find out how the man might have died. So we couldn't look at the pathology of the bones. We couldn't look for evidence of sword marks or blade marks or cut marks on any of the bones. Also, unfortunately, we couldn't even confirm that the person was a man. And nowadays, of course, there's the opportunity with scientific techniques like isotope analysis and ancient DNA analysis, to learn a lot more about the bioarchaeology of the person buried. But unfortunately, the remains of the bones were so small, we couldn't do any of those studies. But what we could do is, we could look at the remains and the objects that have been placed in the grave with this man. And what you can see here, if you want to come in and gather closer, so you get a better look. So what you can see here is that this man was buried with a sword, he was buried with a spear, he was buried with his shield, he was buried with an axe. These are all weapons. These are all, as you saw from the fighting there, these were all the shield was obviously a shield, but the sword, the spearhead, and the axe were all weapons that were used by Vikings in battle. But this man, of course, was buried with more weapons than he could ever possibly use or even carry. So he must, we interpret, or we conclude from that he was a man of very significant status in the community. The location of his grave also indicates that he was a man of very significant status, because the grave was located just 20 meters outside the entrance into the settlement site. So he was buried in his grave was located in a very prominent location for anybody coming to the settlement site or leaving the settlement site. The type of objects that were buried with him are also very interesting, because they indicate that this man wasn't what you might call a pure Norse Viking, because the objects he was buried with were a mix of objects that are found in Scandinavia, or that came from Scandinavia, but also objects that were probably made in the Irish Sea area or maybe adjacent areas. So the swords, the type of swords that he had, was modelled on a type of Norwegian sword, but it was, you might say, a cheaper copy. So it wasn't quite the highest quality sword that Vikings had at that time. The spearhead, though, was an absolute classic Norse type spearhead, and is actually very long and about 3 times as long as let's say the spearheads that native Irish warriors would have had at that time. So it was an absolute, if you excuse the pun, a piece of cutting-edge technology. The Vikings, had this fighting technology that was far in advance of any type of weaponry that people in Ireland had at that time. So the spearhead is a definite Norse or Norwegian or import from the Scandinavian world. The conical shield boss, so this is the metal piece that's in the centre of the wooden shield, and you can see it on the illustration here. This is a type of shield boss that's unique to the Irish Sea Vikings, so the Vikings that were operating in the Irish Sea area. And so we can tell from that this man was probably, or we conclude from the selection of weapons in the grave, that this man probably wasn't a first generation Viking who came straight from Norway or Denmark. So he probably represents maybe a second generation, or certainly somebody who had lived a long time in this area. And we also can tell that because he was buried with a small ring brooch, a ring pin, and that's a typically Irish type of artifact to fasten a cloak. But the Vikings adopted, while they had brooches and so on, when they came to Ireland and Western Britain, they saw these ring pins being worn by local people, and they said, hey, we don't have anything exactly like that. That works really well. So he was buried with an Irish type pin. He also had some other objects which are probably of Irish or insular origin. And so here you can see small little conical mounts. Now we don't know, there were 2 of them in the grave. We don't know exactly what they were, but they were probably raided from